It's empty. Your turn.
It's empty. Yeah.
Coffee. Can't start the show without a coffee. Anita is there tonight. Legal John Hammond is over there tonight. Wise Sage Bid is over there. And here, for the first time on Sweet and Sour, famous Sharron, I'm not allowed to do that, they've told me. Famous Sharron will be sitting right there with these letters to this camera. Is that right? I'm still learning. Here we go. Letter 1. After 3 weeks, she told me that everything she'd told me whilst we were dating, he met her online, is a lie, because she's actually an escort. Second letter tonight. What very scary weather patterns. Are there any fools out there who still deny global warming and the incontrovertible truth? And what are we doing at a personal level? And the final letter tonight, blabbermouths. Theft, no matter where it comes from, even at the information level, is just bad. And why do people feel that they've got the right to steal your information? Bit of gossip going around there. See what the panellists have got to say. Stay with us. Sweet and Sour starting right now.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar on there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
How's about some chili?
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Tonight. Good evening, everyone. Lovely to have your company. Gary Mitchell with you for the next half hour with Sweet and Sour panellists who you're going to meet straight away. My mate Bid is here. Everybody loves you, sir. Your advice is incredible.
Oh, golly, I'm not sure they will after the global warming letter.
But
there you go. Lovely to be here. I am so thrilled to meet.
Hello, Sharron.
Famous Sharron.
Famous Sharron is here.
And the other panellists.
But not really.
I've never. No, that's not true.
You had to say that, don't you?
Met the famous Sharron.
You can touch me, I'm off the TV. Hello.
Welcome for the very first time. Lovely to have you here. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Sharron,
Yes.
Fantastic. Lovely to have you here.
It always is, Tels.
And how long have you been famous for?
Oh, just a couple of years. I just started telling people I was famous, and then someone went, "Oh my gosh, are you famous, Sharron?" I was like, "I've made it."
Oh, so you are the Kim Kardashian of Australia.
No talent required, Dales. Very famous for nothing at all.
Good to have you here. Who else is on the show tonight? Probably won't matter. Sorry, guys. Hello, Anita.
I mean, look at the outfit, though.
Look
Seriously,
at that.
amazing.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
I'm going to go get a jacket like that.
We'll know how to be
Yellow.
famous after this. Lovely to have you here, Anita. Hello, Legal.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Gary, for asking.
Well, you must be because you're rarely in Australia.
Well, I make exceptions for Sweet and Sour.
Oh, good to have you here, sir. Terrific. Here we go with the first letter, entitled History is Bonk. Hey, Sweet and Sour. Apart from school girlfriends, I've met every one of my romantic attachments online, and so have my mates. It works really great because we chat first for a few days or weeks or so, and then if there's some chemistry rising, we meet and go from there. To play it safe, if I'm still not sure, I will meet up with 2 different women. This guy sounds like a glutton. And in a quick amount of time, say goodbye to one of them. Oh. Okay, so you have the picture. So I chose one after 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks she told me that everything she's told me about her life was mostly a lie. And she's really, get this, an escort.
Oh dear.
She's decided she needed to get out of the business, and so without going into detail, finding a steady boyfriend was one of her first steps, and I'm it. Well, I'm feeling pretty off about the whole thing, and I can't work out what to do here because I really enjoyed being with her. I keep freaking out about it though. I've dated others since, but so far no one's been as interesting nor fun, and I keep going back and then freaking out again. So what the hell do I do here, please? Is there much wrong with dating an escort? And it comes to us from PJ Northcote in Victoria. Okay, who's up? No, PJ is in Northcote, Victoria, not PJ. Sounds like a good singer's name. Okay, Anita, what do you do here?
Is there much wrong with dating? Well, it depends
Have you
on
ever
what
been?
he's-
No, go on.
It depends on what he's after or looking for, I suppose. It's whether it's anything wrong with it or not. But it sounds like he's doing the same thing, but just not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So look,
He's after something short term, it
he's
seems.
admitted that he likes her. So what's the problem? I mean, she's not an escort at the moment. She's used him to get out of the business. So if you like someone, I don't know, get over it. You're just doing the same thing, but not getting money for it.
Getting her for free. So well
He's getting it for free.
I know. Now look, if he likes her, then stick with her. But with the lying thing, obviously, after 3 weeks, you do not know somebody. You need to give it a little bit of time, and I think just take it as it goes.
She was just being protective, wasn't she? Why are you going to tell somebody at the first meeting that you're an escort? Jono, what's your view on this one?
Well, my view on this one is I'm entirely with you, Anita. I think the fact that she's been an escort is irrelevant. It's just a question of numbers, really. And it depends. You know, some people have got those numbers whether or not they've charged for their services. So if there's chemistry there, then yes, go for it, because I think it's very good if you do find that match, and that's what it's all about.
Some people have got those numbers with you. Oh,
Delicately put.
Oh,
Very delicate.
Bid, what are your numbers like?
Oh, they're pretty shocking, actually. Look, is there
An earring for every time.
is there much wrong with dating an escort? Well, a working escort, there might be some intimacy conflicts or confusions. Dating a former escort, well, only you can decide about that. But remember that she hasn't told you the truth in 3 weeks, so she's lied about everything else. Is she really getting out? It'd be my question, and will that trouble you? Because there are reasons that people unfortunately get into this kind of business, and sometimes it's because of personal frailties and things. By the way, can we call escorts prostitutes? Can we just say that? Can we just say that? So be careful, because those vulnerabilities and things might continue after she quits. Make sure she really is quitting, because so many go back for the money, sadly. And there are some lifestyle issues, sadly, often, not always, but often go with this lifestyle, and they can include abusive personal relationships often, and drug taking. So you need to be careful. But for goodness sake, what does it matter what she used to do? Either you have a great time, which you do, or you don't.
I mean,
Sharron, does it matter?
I don't. I think all relationships can be difficult, can't they, Daz? I mean, I know I'm currently married, open to divorce, so every day is good. But I think they're called the one for the reason, isn't it, Daz? You know, you might meet a million people on Tinder, but if there's someone that you just vibe with and they make your life better, then go for it, Daz. Just give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl. We asked you people at home to answer this question for us. Can people who habitually have had partners ever settle with one? And this is what you said. 74% of people said, yes, you can. After you've been through the mill, yeah, you can settle with one. Maybe men.
In their younger days, you know, they've got to get it out of their system, and then they eventually settle down. Oh, and women to an
Sorry,
extent.
Daz, I had to get a lot out of my system.
Are you still trying?
I'm still open to it.
When we come back, we're going to be talking about, what have we got over here? Oh, climate change. Oh, no, that's rude, isn't it? No, not exactly a full discussion on climate change, but what we're doing to be mindful of climate change. Don't go away. More of Sweet and Sour. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour, and for everyone who wants to send us a letter and have it discussed by the panel, send it to one of these contact points that's appearing on your screen right now. No excuses. There are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contact points to send it to.
And one of them's really a letter, isn't it?
And for everyone who does send us a letter, and we do discuss it on the panel, we are going to send you to the movies, courtesy of Natalie Cameron and NRC Communications. And the movie we're sending you to this week is The Book Club. Jane Fonda, Diane Keaton, and that's 2, there's 4. I can't remember the other 2, never mind, here we go. Thank you, Nat. Hi, panellists. Well, what very scary weather patterns we're experiencing in Australia and around the world. There was never any question regarding climate change for those who followed the science and not the highly controversial political arguments that from day one were motivated by the resource-rich fat cats wanting to keep the money rolling in from all the old polluting traditional business models. Are there any fools left who still deny the incontrovertible truth? I got it. Incontrovertible truth. The question for each and every one of us is, what are we now doing to be mindful of our carbon footprint? So to each of you, the panellists on your show tonight, how are you minimising your carbon footprint? What steps are you taking to halt global warming at your personal level? It's what all of us need to be considering right now. It comes to us from Terry Saunders of Golden Grove in South Australia, where climate change is really bad. Over there.
Incontrovertible, but not Grove.
But not Grove. Okay, Jono.
Do you know who said incontrovertible truth, Mr. Mitchell?
I do.
Al Gore.
Al Gore.
No, he said inconvenient truth.
Oh, sorry.
$5 off your score.
Okay. Well, look, I must say that I agree with this letter writer. I think the planet is burning up. Recently, we've seen horrendous bushfires in Athens.
Yeah.
We've seen mud sliding down the hills of the Swiss Alps or somewhere close by. We've seen horrendous fires in California, horrendous fires in New South Wales.
And it's winter.
And it's winter. We've seen sinkholes around the planet. The mudslides are particularly worrying because I think they're through the devastation of our tree population. And the planet is heating up, there's no question. So those people who want to ignore this, you're burying your head in the sand, and everything we can do on an individual level, including our plastic bags, we should be following through with.
What are you doing, Jono?
What am I doing? Well, I have stopped using plastic bags, that's one thing.
Okay.
And I'm meticulous about recycling.
Good for you.
Really meticulous. I take it very seriously.
Anita, what are you doing?
Yes, so I'm recycling. I'm turning off everything from the switches now because in Melbourne now, where I live with Anne. Hi, Anne.
Those little lights.
Our power bill was through the roof,
And
now, yeah, it's just switching off makes a big difference. And did you know, with the heating and cooling, if you maintain it at 20, so for heating in winter, 21 degrees, for every degree above 21 adds an extra 20% to your bill.
Okay.
Isn't that is just huge. So I was cranking it up to 27, you know, it's freezing in Melbourne.
If you didn't have the economic incentive to cut the bill down, what would you be doing?
Probably eating local is what I'm really pushing for now, is because if you can even have your own veggie, like your own herbs and stuff in the garden, as opposed to then having to go to a shop and buy it, it's just cutting your emissions and your fuel.
When you say eat local, I think Uber Eats.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, but they still have to put it in a car.
Nearby.
All right, I can tell you're cutting down on plastic shares.
I am. This was a Christmas tree last year. Now look at it. It's fabulous.
Recycling, very good.
I'm just so glad Botox doesn't melt and my face would be all wonky. Like the heating up, isn't it, Daz? I've sold a few jet skis. I'm giving it a go, Daz. I actually made tote bags so people could use them instead of plastic, and on it they say "Totes famous," so people know that you're a celebrity.
What are you doing, Bid?
Well, I got to address the premise because Tezza, I'm trying to be a better person. I really, really am. But this letter made me incredibly angry.
Is it because it's not on recycled paper?
I disagree with every smug, self-satisfied, judgmental word that came out of your mouth. First and foremost, your pompous, self-congratulatory certainty is the very antithesis of science. Science paradoxically doesn't deal with facts. It's a process. And what we regard as facts one day are then tested and challenged on another day. Okay, example, and your beloved warmist religion is just a classic example. In the 1970s, go and check on your history, every single reputable scientist on the planet was talking about a coming ice age. 30 years ago, on a personal note, long before the monstrous Al Gore, I helped produce for the Nine Network, to the best of my knowledge, the first documentary in Australia on this effect called the greenhouse effect. No one was more convinced by the science. We talked to people all over the world. And not one single thing 30 years ago has come true. Not one single thing. Are there more devastating weather events? Paradoxically, no. And the very idea, it's much too complicated a subject to go into in this show, but the very idea that something as natural as CO2, with which we have a symbiotic relationship with every plant on the planet, could be solely responsible for global warming, I beg your pardon, for climate change, is a nonsense. It is so laughable that our grandchildren will wet themselves in 50 years' time of how stupid we were. So I'm sorry,
So,
Tessa,
so
to be
are you
popular
saying
is
it's
not always
it's
right.
not happening?
I'm saying that there is climate change, but the idea that it is based on carbon and CO2 is an absolute nonsense.
What's it based
and there
on?
is well, nobody knows. There's the Maunder minimum, for example. I mean, it's not the sort of show we can go into all of this. There's a 22-year cycle of the sun.
I think I understand why no one knows, because it's very hard to fit that into a tweet, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Like,
I just want
retweet
to
that.
say to be popular is not always right, and to be right is not always popular, Tessa. So,
Okay, we asked our people at home, you people, this question: do you believe most Australians have ignored doing anything at the personal level to minimise global warming? And here's what the answers were. 78% said yes, we're not doing anything about it, and 22% said no. There you go.
I think
So,
we've all ignored problems. That's how I get past my mother-in-law.
when we come back, oh, no, that's not what we're talking about, but thank you. We're talking about
Gossip dolls.
Todd McKenney. We're talking more about, hang on. What's the letter?
We're talking about...
We'll be organised when we come back. Todd McKenney and, blabbermouths. Oh, people who talk about other people's information. And Todd McKenney. When we come back. All right, don't go away. More of Sweet and Sour very shortly.
Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana. Sweet and sour.
Bugeja. I've got it. We've got Brooke Bugeja performing for us to close the show tonight. And before we go to Brooke, we've got this last letter to do, and it's entitled Blabbermouths. Dear Sweet and Sour, I figure that theft is just bad no matter what form it comes in. Theft of information is huge in the corporate world with enormous penalties. Why is it then that some people feel as if they have the right to steal your information and peddle it as if it's theirs? Todd McKenney is guilty of it when most recently he blurted out to the world that his sister married his former boyfriend. Shafted. He didn't find out until years later, which shows you what sort of relationship he had with his family. At the same time, he also revealed that his mum was a lesbian. What right does he have to do that? The reason I'm so incensed is that it happened to me. Previously, I would have just considered this sort of thing harmless gossip, but it's not. It can hurt, especially if the person is not ready for anyone else to know. I adopted a beautiful little girl when she was minuscule. I always planned to tell her if she ever brought it up, or whenever I thought she was old enough, around 12 or 13. My idiot brother, knowing my position, decided he knew better, and he told his kids, who in turn teased my daughter about it. She's only 9. And she's been utterly shaken, to say the least. So now, how do I make it better? And how do I demand, do I demand an apology from my information thieving brother? It comes to us from Cheryl of Chewett Hill in WA. And Shaz, you're first on that one. What an awful situation.
That is disgusting.
A little 9-year-old being teased, and it's because of her uncle.
And also, it's a hard thing to deal with. Like, what age is right for that? It's hard to know, isn't it, Charles?
When they ask, I suppose, I think she had it right. When you ask, when the kids ask, when the kid's curious, or when they're old enough to take that sort of information and go away and process it.
I just don't think anyone should do anything with your secrets other than yourself. I mean, I want to sell my own scandals to New Idea. I don't want you to steal them from me, Dels. And I don't think she should keep the brother in the family.
Oh.
Because that's a bit of information he got right. But what if he got something wrong and he just creates chaos? I just ask him if he really meant it, and otherwise just find a new family for Christmas, Dels. Sometimes that's what you've got to do.
Bid, come on in, sir.
Oh, look, this reminded me of two great things I think about social media. The first is that people think that data is wisdom. Data is just a bunch of stuff. It's not necessarily wise. Wisdom requires that somebody looks at all of the data and makes judgments, and John would know all about that.
Like how many Facebook likes do you have?
Exactly, the serious stuff. So, and the second thing is that not everything that's true, once you've established that, is worth blurting out in the first place, and that's what your brother's done. I think you need to sit your little girl down, take her to a private place that's her favourite place in the whole wide world, sit her down, look her in the eyes, tell her you love her, that you're always going to love her, she's always going to be part of the family, that she's extra special because you chose her, and she wasn't just born to you, and make her realise that. And then you need to go and see your brother and pretty much say the same thing and tell him he really has to impress that upon his kids.
It's a great point. Just tell her that the brother's kids were accidents and he never wanted them in the first place.
And what she said. And then I think you need to forgive your brother.
Forgiveness. We asked you people at home to answer this question for us online. Does anyone have the right to out another person without consent? Of course, the answer came in, as you'd expect. No one has the right to do that. 11% said yes. I wonder what's in their minds. Goodness me.
It's just the brother and his friends.
It probably is. All right. Jono, what's going on here?
I think it's wrong. I don't want anyone discussing my irritable bowel syndrome on TV or elsewhere. I think
that's our topic for next week.
I think there's certain information that is private and you shouldn't be disclosing it, and this is a classic example of where the brother has gone badly wrong, and he needs to apologise to the family, and he needs to mean that apology. And in terms of what should happen to the girl, I think she needs to be spoken to in a very gentle, understanding manner. And
that would shake you to your core if you didn't know and you were a 9-year-old girl, wouldn't you? And once the genie's out of the bottle, what can you do? That's a very harsh thing.
So much trust broken everywhere.
Oh, the poor little thing. That's awful. It's really a
Next
tragic.
Next she's going to find out Santa's not real, so it just gets downhill from here.
Anita, give us the rep on this one before we go to Brookie over there, who's ready for us.
Definitely needs to apologise that he was way out of line. What was he even I just don't know what was going through his brain when he even thought about, it's not his place to say to her anyway.
No,
so I
but what are
think
you going to
brother's
do?
a bit of an idiot.
You do need to forgive. You can't lose family over it. I mean, he's been an idiot. And there's nothing that you can do to make it better.
I want to know what his reason was for doing
it. I
it.
would say forgive to a point, but sometimes family are toxic. Look at Meghan Markle. She had to marry a prince to get out of her.
Yeah.
The things you do. Fancy marrying into that family to get away from your own.
She married a ranger.
A ranger? On top of it. She married a ranger.
Oscar Wilde said, God gave you your family, thank God you choose your friends. So.
Thank God, thank God. Bid, lovely to have you here tonight, sir.
Lovely.
Terrific to have you back. Shaz, we've thoroughly enjoyed having you here.
Always a pleasure.
Can I steal your
my jacket?
For next week?
You can have it for the intro.
Please.
Just find a Christmas tree.
Do you want to take it back to Melbourne with you?
Yes, I'd love it.
Yeah. Imagine walking down the street in Melbourne with that.
I'm going to get a gold and a blue one for the footy set.
Might set off the alarm.
It'll set off the alarm.
Oh, it does. You just said you're going to get Eagles colours for Melbourne. Big mistake.
Big mistake. Big mistake. Jono, good night, sir.
Yeah, good night.
Are you staying in town for a little while?
Yeah, tonight's my continental soup and salami, like I was saying in the break. And then tomorrow, another day at the office. That's all I do.
There you go. Thank all of our wonderful panellists. Thanks to our crew here tonight at Central, and thanks for having us at home tonight, Australia. Take it away, Brookie. Good night, everyone.
Still alive, but I'm barely breathing. It's praying to a God that I don't believe it. I've got soul, she's got freedom. So when a heart breaks, no, it don't break even. Her best days were with some of my worst. I finally met him.